Back in the day when the radio played and CDs spun our nights away. From grunge to grooves and R&B, 95 was the place to be. We're digging deep, 1 week at a time. Every album, every rhyme. It's more than music, it's a vibe. Come with us, let's take that ride. 52/1995. We're bringing that year back alive. From basement tapes to billboard highs, rewind the sound, relive the drive. Oh, 52/1995. Drop the needle, feel that jive. 1 year, 1 track at a time. Dive, yeah, let's dive. Spinning loud, feel the flash. Britpop dreams and alt rock crash. Hip hop truth, electronic night. Every beat still burns so bright. 52/1995. It's not just songs, it's a time capsule dive. Talking tunes that shaped our lives. Tune and turn up and ride that high, yeah. 52/1995. Weekly drops, we keep it live. Let's rewind the vibe. One album every time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into 52/1995, your live music conversation podcast. We're diving deep into the music of 1995. This is the first expansion into the 52-universe from our sister podcast, 52/1995 Movies. I am your host, Alyssa, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Cody. Cody, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Wonderful. How are you?
I'm all right. We're here.
That's all we can ask.
Yeah, that's all we can ask. Shout out to everybody out there. If you're tuning in today on a Thursday, I do apologize for switching up the stream time. I was sick. I still currently am sick, but we are working on it. I am not sick enough to skip out on today's podcast. But if you are here for the first time, again, welcome. If in case you need to get the rundown here, each week, 52 weeks in a year, right? We are going to explore different music from the year 1995 for their 30th anniversary. Going to dive deep into the year's important releases, discuss them in detail, and I'm going to chat with my guest here, Cody, about their thoughts and experiences with the album. So each month, we are going to explore a different music theme or genre. This month is more of a theme, and it is debut album. So every album we are listening to this month is the first album from the artist. And today's album is AM by Wilco. So Cody, before we get into it, I want to ask you, thank you for joining us, by the way. What is your experience with Wilco or this album? Did you know it, or what were your first impressions?
So I don't really have a lot on Wilco. I did go through like a phase where this music was really important. This type of music, I should say, was really important to me and was a part of the Cody lore. Fun fact: here's some more Cody lore for you. In high school, I produced my own uh, show for in high school, which was basically just an excuse for me and my friends, Andy and Bob, to not do actual work and just
Mhm.
mess around and film whatever we wanted and called it a news show. But anyway, one of the last shows that we did, our ending credit song was a Wilco song. And
Oh,
yeah, I don't think it's not on this. It's definitely not on this album. But I think it was on one of the other albums after. I think it's called Camera, with a K. I think that was on
hmm
their 2002 album,
yeah.
which might be Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, maybe.
I say, and that's the one that has the most commercial success.
Yeah,
hmm
that one, and then A Ghost Is Born. I think came out in like '03 or '04.
I think
Uh,
04. That's the bit.
yeah,
I think that one has a Grammy.
yeah, that one is like their most, like, I think, critically acclaimed album.
hmm
I tried to get into Wilco like a lot with A Ghost Is Born. I don't feel like I really understood what was going on with A Ghost Is Born at the time. Again, I was like 16, 17, and I was listening to other stuff like Foo Fighters and Modest Mouse, and that was the music that I was really into. But I wanted so desperately to be like, "Oh, you don't know Wilco's A Ghost Is Born?
Want to
Crazy."
be cool.
Yeah. But that is really all my experience with Wilco. I had never listened to this first album, so this
hmm
was all very new to me. And initial reaction is a good reaction, I think. And they sound so much different on some of their other albums. Like, they still have the same like alt country vibe to them.
hmm
Um, but I feel like those albums are a little bit different than this one.
Yeah, looking at their history, this like this was their first, obviously. That's part of the debut month. But they got way more experimental as albums go on. So this is the most like true to what what the previous band, and we'll get into the history of the previous band and how, where this band comes from. Um, the most, like you said, alternative country sounding compared to what we get, like a little more electronic or just a
Hmm.
little more pop, like a little just different as we move forward. We're alternative. I believe the lead um, singer was like really into punk rock music too, so you might see that influence later as well. Maybe not so much on this album. Um, yeah. I did not know Wilco before this. Well, I take that back. I actually did not realize I knew Wilco before this. I was listening to this album and one of the songs, I was like, hey, I know this one. And I got excited. But overall, I did not know anything, didn't have any background. Totally net new experience. I will say, you like when we mean looking at the albums, or I think you had mentioned like this is alternative country. And in my mind, I was thinking something completely different.
Hmm.
This is not at all what I would label alternative country. There just happens to be a fiddle and a steel guitar.
But that's what this genre is, though. Is this like that is what alt country is? Is that, like, if I had to bottle alt country, this is it
I
in my mind. What
can
would
you
you
name?
say is alt country?
Well, I guess I don't know because country has. I mean, if I think of country from my 2025 lens, it has spiraled into so. And not, I don't mean that in a negative way, but just has kind of. I mean, like literally, there are offshoots of all of these different types of country. Country pop and
Hmm.
country rap are very well. Country rap was more so like 2011 with Sam Hunt, but country pop is this huge thing right now, has been for maybe the last 10, 15 years in terms of like the popular space. And when I think alt country, I think maybe in today's terms, folk music or a Noah Khan, I think.
And
And
I would,
again,
yeah.
that's modern day. Like, because he's not country, he's more folk. But I'm not
Mhm,
like, but folk and country, like alternative country, those are different. I would still put Noah Khan in the folk category, but
mhm.
like a someone who didn't know what genre to call him or to call certain people would maybe hear Noah Khan and go, "This is a country singer."
Mhm.
I think even Zach Bryan can, not Zach Bryan, yeah, no, yeah, Zach Bryan can maybe fall into like he is a country singer, but it's not the country we hear today.
Right.
I think the term alternative is a little
Throwing you
too
off?
it's a little too wide, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. Because like we call, I mean, your shirt, Gwen Stefani, or what's no doubt's considered an alternative band.
Mhm.
And like and that's maybe where I'm getting hung up on is like
Yeah.
that's alternative, not this is very clean cut. Almost I would almost put into a pop genre.
So I think with country anyway, and this is not me being like, well, actually, or anything like that,
That's
because
fine.
every genre that we talk about, whether it's rock or uh, pop or hip hop or whatever, all have their little subgenres of everything.
Yeah.
Alternative country, I think, comes from this world of it. I think it originated like maybe with like outlaw style country, so your Johnny Cashes, your
Yeah.
Highwaymen, those kinds of guys, but it was kind of I would say it's like a mix of outlaw country mixed with folk, mixed with singer-songwriter, and
Yeah.
that is where it kind of that like I think those three genres alone turn the like give us who we are talking about. Like, have you ever listened to Jason Isbell?
No, but that's a lot of the people I'm mentioning, Zach Bryan, or like are heavily influenced by Isbell.
Yeah. So like Jason Isbell is probably one of the most recent ones that I would be like, okay, that guy is doing alt country, or because I wouldn't even throw people like Chris Stapleton or
No.
because they're too country,
No,
if that
Chris
makes sense.
Stapleton. Yeah, I would put
Like,
because
and Zach Bryan, I think, falls into that. Like, he's almost too country.
yeah,
He's not that weird in
it's
between.
teetering. I would,
Yeah.
yeah, Chris, yeah, there's like a movement toward going back towards outlaw country right now. I think Chris Stapleton is kind of teetering on that.
Yeah.
Um, Again, Zach Bryan, I would maybe even put more in the folk
Hmm.
type of category with the older stuff. The most recent album, more country than anything. Um,
And we've actually mentioned we've seen a band, Old Crow Medicine Show, I would say is an alt country band.
yeah,
Or
which I would say they're country, but maybe that's just because I know Wagon Wheel.
yeah,
And that to
but
me is a quintessential country
country
song.
song, right. But like some of their other stuff is more on the like, and I think that's where the punk part of it, because Patty Griffin, I think, is also listed as like an alt country person.
I
And
don't know who that is.
Patty Griffin is famous, kind of singer songwriter, but also with like punk influences. Patty Griffin, and I'm pretty
Interesting.
sure like with I'll go ahead and bring her up, like Taylor Swift. Patty Griffin is a big influence on Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Um,
So, and maybe I'm considering singer-songwriter its own genre because I'm even thinking of like a Michelle Branch,
yeah, that's
right?
pop. That's like singer songwriter pop.
But then she has her spin-off,
The Wreckers, which is
The Wreckers,
pop country. Yeah.
pop country, but um yeah, Michelle Branch, what's the other one? Vanessa Carlton.
Hmm.
Those are like very 2000s.
Yes.
But that to me is this is the same genre of music to me.
Yeah. I would not put those two in this same genre.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
I
I
think
don't
that's just because of like I said, I was listening to a lot of this style music, and that's like some of my pairings. If you were to listen to them, you'd be like, oh, I've got it now.
okay.
Like
I said
these
you're
are
gonna hear my pairings and go, that makes no sense.
yeah, I think there's a lot of bands out there that have it's almost like there is no genre for it, because you're like,
Yeah.
let me listen to this, and is this country music? No, it's not. Just because they have fiddle and everything, because like Jeff Tweedy's voice is not a country voice.
No, and maybe there's a lot. Again, there's a steel guitar,
Yeah.
like that is very prominent in a lot of these songs. There is a fiddle, but like Yellow
Mhm.
Card has a fiddle.
Yeah.
Like
And
we
like there's a
can,
mandolin at the beginning of one of these songs. You hear it like, and that's it.
yeah,
Like that's only part of it that you hear. So I don't know.
yeah. And when you look up, like when I like go on Wikipedia, like the first line is Wilco is an American rock band based in Chicago. Like I don't
Yeah.
think country music when I think Chicago. Wikipedia describes them as a rock band. I would even put them more into rock than country. I don't know. I just had I had a lot of issues. I liked this album,
Yeah.
but like you said, this almost doesn't have a genre, and it's I think that plays to its disadvantage.
Mhm. I think it is a weird, I think with this, but like the timing of it is so interesting of 95, because when I was listening to this music, it was, early 2000s, and was a very, very popular genre at the time in like the early 2000s. And again, with some of the people that I'll mention later with my pairings, they were really hot during that time.
Mhm.
Um, and then like country is so interesting too, not with just alternative country, but like you have a split even from like regular country to where there's like Texas country, and then there's Nashville
Yeah,
country, and Texas country shares a little bit more with like alternative country than regular country does. It's
yeah.
fascinating.
Mhm.
I don't know. I like
Yeah.
this genre of music and forgot how much I really, really enjoyed this
Oh yeah, and I'm not.
until I got to, as I started listening to this album, I was like, yeah, yeah, this is great. This is also like referred to as Americana too.
Yeah,
Um,
even Americana to me is a better label
mhm.
because like Americana encompasses country, folk, rock. Like it does all the things in one, which kind of is what this is all the things in one.
Yeah. And some of it you see is like I think where we might get thrown off of this is like the sudden resurgence of y'alternative,
Yeah,
which is like pop punk mixed with country music.
yeah,
And so maybe that throws off, or this could be like folk punk, or
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's very, I don't know.
It is hard to pinpoint,
Yeah.
but
But once you hear one band do it, and then you hear another band do it, and then another band, and you're like, oh, okay, I got it.
fair. And I'm not saying I didn't like this album. I
You
just
hated
had
this album. I'm
please don't fuck
kidding.
with me. I'm so tired. I Yeah, no, I didn't dislike this album. I thought it was good. I just, yeah, like in researching it and talking about it, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, what'd you learn?
You want to talk about the album?
Yeah.
All right. So, for those out there, today we're talking about AM by Wilco. And I learned, fun fact, AM is in reference to a radio station like AM FM, not AM like the morning time. I assumed it was AM the morning time, and I was quickly corrected.
I saw that
Uh,
on the cover of the album. I was like, oh, that's not a TV.
yeah, it didn't even occur to me.
That's a radio.
It just didn't even occur to me that AM would be referencing a radio station.
Hmm.
There's no song on the album called AM, right? No, it's
No.
just no. Anyway, so the album is 13 songs long, 44 minutes. Not too bad, kind of in the middle of what we've been listening to. A little bit about Wilco. So Wilco, I said, from Chicago. The band was formed in 1994 because they are the remaining members of an alternative country group called Uncle Tupelo. Tupelo? Tupelo?
Hmm.
Is that
Yep.
okay?
Like Mississippi.
Oh, God. Is that a place in Mississippi?
It is. Yeah.
I know nothing about Mississippi. Sorry to all the Mississippians out there. But I think the band was like Uncle Tupelo, I think was originally formed in 92. But the lead singer and Jay Farrar was like, or kind of button heads with Jeff Tweedy. So they were touring together, they made music together. Eventually, they had a huge blow up, and Jay left the band. Tweedy also kind of left the band, but somehow got all of the rest of the band members to come join him in his newly formed band after Uncle Tupelo split up. So they also had a lot of changes happen within the first like 10 years. Like there's only two people who have stayed the whole time in the band. That's Jeff Tweedy, the singer, and John Stirratt, Stirratt. A lot of extra letters in there. He's the bassist. So, but the guitarist has gone in and out. The drummer's gone in and out. They're the only two that were from the original band, as well as the original Uncle Tupelo, as well as the original Wilco. So, I don't know what Jay did. I'm not saying Jay did anything. No accusations here. But the fact that Tweedy was able to round up everybody else probably meant that they didn't like Jay very much. So I don't know. Jay also went on to make his own band called Sunvolt when they were kind of competing with one another. So stylistically, Wilco is similar to Uncle Tupelo. The music on AM was considered to be straightforward alternative country music, and that Tweedy later described as trying to tread some water with a perceived audience. So they're like, we rounded up the rest of the band. We're missing a guy. We got a new band. We already have a fan base. Let's try to play to them a little bit. And then, like I mentioned earlier, started to experiment as time went on. And they're actually still making music today. I believe their last album came out in 2023, so not that long ago.
They've put out a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah. They've toured, they've done a lot, even with a lot of the band members coming in and out. So did this album chart? Kind of. AM peaked at number 27 on the Billboard chart, considerably lower than the debut album of Jay Farrar's new band, Sunvolt. So we're not talking about Sunvolt this year, even though Jay's band, Sunvolt's album, came out this same year, weeks apart. But even though it's kind of reminding me, kind of a little reminiscent of a couple things. One, Radiohead, and also everything that we talked about in British Month, like how Pulp versus Oasis, like winning the battle but winning the war, lose the battle, win the war. Like, it kind of feels like that in this sense that, like, I have no idea who Sunvolt is. I don't know anything, but I think that band is long gone. They're not on our list for 52 this year. And we are the authority. But Wilco is something that has stood the test of time. Even though they didn't do as commercially well with this first album, they had later success in the early 2000s. So again, lost the battle, win the war. The album was met with modest reviews. It was kind of mid. And it ranked, even though it did rank 34th in the Village Voice's 1995 Paz and Jop Critics poll. So people did like it, but again, it's kind of middle range. The album was later regarded as a, quote, failure by the band members. Again, they're comparing it to Sunvolt's album. They're like, Trace did better than us. Jay won. Our album was a failure, which is kind of a bummer because I think it's a good album. But again, they're looking retrospectively at it.
Mm-hmm.
It was the band's last album to be recorded in a, again, purely alternative country style. As following the record, they began to expand their sound across multiple genres. So again, kind of, it's interesting. Again, it's hard as I'm sitting here trying to break down what the genre is and me not being able to pinpoint it. It doesn't even matter because they started to experiment and do other stuff as they went on. So probably wouldn't even consider themselves alternative country today. Even though this album their first album's considered alternative country, that has since changed. So yeah. Any thoughts, anything to add?
No, I do, like I said, I think that and you just said it, like, if you go further into their discography, it's almost like Radiohead and mentioning them, like it slowly changes over time. This does sound like some Uncle Tupelo, a lot like Uncle Tupelo.
Okay.
So just for your reference, that's what Uncle Tupelo sounds like. Is this? So
I say I gotta go back and listen because now I'm like definitely curious. I'm so confused as to what alternative country is.
I've got a couple you can listen to. You've
Perfect.
heard some of these bands, and you've heard a lot of the music before, but obviously probably just never was like, oh, that's alt country.
Okay. And we'll get to my pairings later and I'll see maybe where my brain is at with some of
Yeah.
this. So let's do a song breakdown. What are the songs that stuck out to you?
The songs that that stuck out to me are Casino Queen,
Hmm.
Pick Up the Change,
Okay.
Passenger Side, and Too Far Apart. I really liked all those. Those were
Okay.
those were my 4 faves off this
Uh,
album.
I've got that one, those four, as well as Box Full of Letters.
Yeah, I didn't list Box Full of Letters just because I was like, I'm pretty sure she's going to. So
Yes, that was the song I knew. I don't know how. I think it was on a playlist at somewhere where I worked at a retail store because I knew the words immediately and I was like, where like some type of That's So Raven flashback. But let's talk about Casino Queen. Because I really liked Casino Queen. It sound honestly, and again, I'm messing with the genres here. It sounds like an AC/DC song.
yeah, it's like Southern rock, which I think is what they're going for, especially on this song in particular. It sounds like AC/DC or Marshall Tucker Band or Allman Brothers or whatever, or Leonard Skinner. It's that genre of music, and it leans towards the like trying to pinpoint what kind of genre this is.
Yeah.
Are they indie? Because you do have those other songs on here where you're like, what are they doing? Is this indie music? Is this
Yeah.
singer songwriter? Is this Neil Young? Like, who is this?
Yeah. And there's a cowbell. This is one of the songs that has the fiddle in it, but the cowbell was like very like in your face. This is the second song on the album. But it is a good like it immediately hooked me in like instrumentally. I was like, I like this one. I didn't even like just 2 seconds in. I'm like, yes, there's a good sound.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the song Mississippi Queen?
Mm-mm.
It was a rock band song, like um or
Guitar Hero,
Guitar
maybe.
Hero or Rock Band. What is Mississippi Queen? Bing, ding, 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 you know what I mean? That's what this song
Maybe.
reminds me of, with like the cowbell and everything in it. So
Okay. Yeah, I get that Southern
yeah,
rock. I like that.
like Skinner. Yeah.
Yeah, that I see it. It makes sense. Fun fact about this song: Casino Queen is actually the name of a casino in the band's hometown.
Oh, nice.
So, because I was like, is this a person? Is this about the actual casino itself? It's about the casino itself.
Hmm. He just wrote a
So,
song about a casino.
yes, and losing money.
That's what you do at a casino, is you lose money.
That's all it is. It's fun,
It
but
is, well,
it can be. It can be.
yeah, but
It can
it's
also
fun
be
to
a bummer.
it's fun in the moment.
Yes, I like to say whatever money you lose is your your entry purchase, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am paying to be entertained.
Yeah.
So, and that's clicking the button is entertaining. So if that costs me $50, that's my entrance fee is $50.
Yeah. I like
But
that.
I have to go in knowing I'm spending $50.
Yeah, and
And
say
that's
I'm
it.
not going to the ATM. Yeah,
No, oh no. You come in with what you got and that's it, and you're done. Thoughts?
it's that's 2000 IQ.
That's me.
Big IQ over here.
Big IQ. I can't even function.
You're doing great.
Do you want to talk about Box Full of Letters?
Yeah, we could talk about it.
I said, did you like it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a good song. It's not my. It is not my favorite on the album. It would probably
Yeah.
be 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th.
Oh wow,
maybe.
okay.
Yeah.
I say it's to me like very chill, and again, doesn't sound like country to me.
Now I will say I did like the chorus to this song. I really like the words of it and what this was. I guess I like the lyrics of this song more than anything.
Yeah, it's all about miscommunication, not being able
Hmm.
to express yourself how you would like to. The chorus is, I just can't find the time to write my mind the way I want it to read.
Yeah.
And that'd be like, I like that visual. I like that, like being able to write my mind so I can take my brain, put it into words so that you can read exactly what I'm thinking. And I don't have the ability to do that.
And
And yeah.
did you read that this was about like their breakup?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Well,
I was looking and I couldn't find anything.
I don't know if it was confirmed or anything, but I did see somewhere that people were like, this song is definitely about the miscommunication and the breakdown of Uncle Tupelo. So
Okay, that makes sense. And interest again, this is the song that played over the speaker at JCPenney, I think. So
yeah,
I don't
when I was listening to it, I thought it was about like a guy just not being able to figure out like his emotions within a relationship and try and say what he wants to say. And then I saw that other thing. I was like, oh, or that.
or that. That's cool though. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that one. What do you got next?
Pick Up the
Pick.
Change was the next one that I have.
Okay, tell me
And
about that because I liked it, but I don't know why I liked it.
I think this is again, I feel like lyrically most of that's what I like about these songs.
Uh-huh.
The instrumentation is great and everything, and I like all that. But the thing that I was picking out the most of, or trying to listen to the most of, was the lyrics. And on Pick Up the Change, I just really thought that it was kind of a sweet song
Mhm.
and very endearing and very romantic. Uh, in some of the verses, it lends to some of my favorite lyrics on the album, and I just thought it was a really romantic song and cute.
I okay. So I couldn't tell if this was a love song or if this was a sad song.
Yeah, I think it's a love song. That's the way I took it.
Yeah, no, and I think that was part. I was trying to like look up the lyrics and look up like the meanings or what's behind it, and I wasn't able to find a lot.
Hmm.
But like again, like, can you help me pick up the change? To me, that's like I don't want to say it's like not positive, but he's like, it's almost like struggling. Like I'm literally
Hmm.
like, like scrambling on the ground to pick up coins. Or
I think it's just like, help me out. Like, I love you and I'll do anything for you. And but sometimes at one point he talks about his mind wandering. It won't be and it won't be gone too long because I'll hear you, and then like just make sure and bring me back, kind of thing. Like, come get
okay.
me. Maybe I get drunk and stupid. Come get me. Like that. Because
Okay.
the rest of the song is just him like saying how much he loves this person,
Mhm.
and even at one point though, uh, like at one point he says like, we used to have a lot of things in common, and it sounds like that's a bad thing. And then the next line is, but you now know we're just the same, and that yeah,
Okay. See, I needed a song breakdown. Thank you.
yeah.
Because I literally was like, I like this. Why?
Why do I like this? Yeah.
I couldn't put my finger on. Again, instrumentally, it's fun. It's a good song, but I
Hmm.
was like looking at the lyrics and I was like, I can't tell if this is happy or sad or both.
Yeah.
Maybe a
It's
little column A, a little column B.
yeah, I think, and maybe I don't know how old Tweety is in this. I want to say because he's an older dude. I want to say he's in his 50s now, or maybe even early 60s. He's an older guy, but it felt more like he was talking about like a more mature relationship, or maybe like a relationship he's in, what like in a while he's in the band and doing other
Yeah,
things, and like he says sometimes my mind wanders and all that stuff. But you bring me back, kind of thing. So I don't know. It seemed like a more mature relationship anyway.
I agree. If you think about it's like we used to think we had a lot in common. That
Hmm.
implies that they've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Good. Thank you for walking me through that.
Well, that's just my interpretation. It could be anything else, but
But no, it's good. I like it. I'll take it. What's the next one that you had? Did you have passenger side?
I did have passenger side.
Okay. I want
And
to hear what you think about it.
I thought this was a funny song, kind of,
Uh-huh.
because it's just about them being drunk and high and driving in a car together. And I don't necessarily think this is like I think this is just him and his buddy, you know, going back and
Uh-huh.
forth. And that's my interpretation of it.
Okay, that was my initial interpretation. And then I got sad with it. So it I said, is this song like, because he was like, I'm gonna spill my he's like, oh, you don't drive too fast, I'm gonna spill my beer because he's sitting in the passenger seat. And I'm like, oh, LOL, funny. This is a silly
Well,
song.
yeah, I think he's also an alcoholic.
Well, it's saying, but I was like, is this song like actually profound? Because the singer, again, is in the passenger seat drinking, talks about having a court date coming up.
Hmm.
Um, it's about having to depend on others for rides because they lost their license due to drunk driving.
Hmm.
Like that's, or at least again, that's my interpretation of it. I was like, oh, is this like a commentary? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just about a guy who lost his license because he's drunk all the time and him being in the passenger seat, and there's nothing more than that. But
There's that weird bridge thing in this song where he says, "Should have been the driver, could have been the one. I should have been your lover, but I hadn't seen." And so
yeah.
that's like so different from the rest of the lyrics in this song, where he is just riding with this other person. He's having to be, you know, like you said, depend on others. And then you get this 2-line bridge there that says, "Could have been the one. I should have been your lover." So that's where it gets a little sad.
Yeah. Well, what if he survived the car crash and his lover didn't?
Oh, see, now I'm getting into that. Now you're getting into that they wrecked their car. And
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And then again, Noah Kahn wasn't one of my pairings, but I did remind me of the song Orange Juice.
Mm,
Like again, like not really knowing what to do with this different kind of life.
yeah.
And again, how like alcohol can be really fun and also can be really impactful in a negative way.
Hmm.
So because initially, again, my first interpretation of the song was like, LOL, silly. And then by the end, I was like, oh, this is actually deep. I have no idea if it is or not, by the way. This is just me guessing. But yeah, it's like, I can't imagine having to depend on other people to take me to work or to take me to my court date, or,
Hmm.
I can't go, I don't have the freedom to go anywhere or do anything. I've made this huge mistake that's impacted my life in such a way. Which again, the singer or the storyteller doesn't really sound remorseful about it, except for that sad bridge. But
Right.
again, they're still in the passenger seat drinking beer while being
Yeah.
driven places.
He's also
So
rolling joints, sitting next to him too, and all fun things.
yeah, interesting. Don't drink and drive, friends.
Don't drink and that is what we want to get out of today's show is don't drink and drive.
Yes.
So
Anything else on that one?
no, I don't think so. I think that was just a fun. I like. I don't know. I really thought that was more of a fun, not in the lyrics or anything, but like it was kind
It
of a
is
nice break
upbeat. Yeah.
from some of the other ones. So
Uh-huh.
especially when you come before the next two, which is -7, and comes in between another song that I didn't really love, but
Yeah. There's some snoozers. Nothing again, it's not bad. Just
yeah,
like it's fine. It's very mid.
yeah.
It's very
So
mid album.
you agree with the uh
The critical reception
mhm.
that it wasn't very, it was just mid. Like no one loved it, but no one hated it. Myself,
Yeah,
and I liked it, but it's not my top 10.
yeah. I
Yeah,
get it.
mid,
It's just very mid.
very mid. Did you, and you said, did you have Too Far Apart
I
as your
did.
last one? Okay. I
And
thought this was a good end to the album.
yeah, I think this song actually pairs with one of my pairings really, really well. And I'll go ahead and say that. But this
Yeah.
sounds the most like Tom Petty to me out of all of the songs.
Uh-huh.
It's that let's roll another joint. You don't know how I feel. That song.
Yeah.
That's the song that I was like, oh, this sounds just like that song to me.
Hmm.
And I think that this album in particular hits a lot of like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's what this song reminded me of. I think that's why I was drawn to it.
Yeah.
Just because it just reminded me of that song.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. They said, "Is it really punk rock?" Like, is one of the lyrics in there. I thought that was funny. I kind of wish this was more towards the middle of the album. I think the two songs that came before it, I was just kind of like bored, or I was like, okay, like, and it's typical with an album that the stronger songs are the first half. The back half is a little not as strong.
Yeah.
So I was expecting this last song to be not as strong, and it is. It's really good. It's really fun. I wish it was kind of further up. It's a little more high energy than some of the again, the songs as a general statement aren't really high energy. They're all pretty chill. Easy listening is what I would maybe call this album, like easy to put on in the background somewhere. Yeah, that's my only call out was that I said God, it was a good end to the album because it was like we needed to end on an uptick, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I was like, I wish I could have listened to this one a little earlier.
Yeah, I think that there are a couple songs in there that I was just like on the back half of the album. You're absolutely right with saying that that's probably the worst part of it. Because my two least favorite songs are, 8 and 11, I think, on the album, and yeah, they were rough to get through. Not necessarily rough. I don't think I hated every song on here. I was just not as happy to listen to them as some of the others.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's it.
So what's your favorite song?
My favorite song is Pick Up the Change.
Okay.
And yeah, that's my favorite song. What about you?
I had Casino Queen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought mine was going to be Casino Queen, but that was only because I listened to the first two songs of this album like 20 times because
you kept starting it over.
I kept starting it over and I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get through this album. And then I finally listened to it over the last 2 days. I was like, okay, thank God. Because I knew I would enjoy it. I just, I couldn't get through. I was like, Casino Queen must be it. That must be my song. So
it has to be.
It has the least point out of any of them. It's just about a casino.
Yeah, but it's fun. And like, again,
fun.
I think instrumentally, sonically, one of the more complex.
Yeah.
It's not just a guitar. It's all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, sounds like that Southern rock that we talked about.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite?
My least favorite, and sorry to this guy, it's the only song that Jeff Tweedy does not sing on the album, and it's called "It's Just That Simple."
That was mine too.
Yeah. I will say, like I said, I do not hate that. Like, there are some albums that we've listened to where I absolutely hate a song, and I'm just like, what the hell is that? Or,
yeah,
like, what we're having problems. I didn't hate this. It's just so different from the rest of it because it's the only song that we don't get the same singer for. Now, we just listened to Blink-182, who switches their singer every other song. It was just like, oh, you're going to give me 12 songs with Jeff Tweedy singing and then throw in this guy randomly. I just, it threw me off, and I was like, it felt like a completely different band at that point.
Yeah, the only thing that I said was that it was just too long. Like, I don't actually know if it was the longest song on the album, but I was just like, is this still going? Like, to me, it was just, it just went on for far too long. I think if they cut it shorter, again, I agree with you. It's not a bad song. There really isn't a bad song on the album. Like,
nothing offended me.
Exactly. But yeah, it was just kind of like meh.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite lyric?
We already mentioned one of mine, which is from Box Full of Letters. I just can't find the time to write my mind the way I want it to read. I really like that. And then I chose lyrics from Pick Up the Change, where it's the verse that says, if it's just your heart talking, I'll listen every time. Dear, you can talk my ear off anytime. But if my mind starts wandering, it won't be gone long. Whenever I hear your heart talking, it's a song. It's a song. And that's why I think it's a romantic song. What about you?
I actually had the same thing.
Oh, okay.
We keep picking the same stuff. But I specifically just picked out if it's just your heart talking, I'll listen every time.
Yeah.
Because that to me, I was like, that's the happy part.
Hmm.
And yeah, I liked that. I'll listen every time. I thought that was really cute.
Anything else?
Nope, that was it. That was the only one. What are your pairings? You already mentioned one.
All right. So Tom Petty, specifically the Wildflowers album, which came out a year prior to this. So I
Okay.
think it kind of fits. Ryan Adams, not Brian
Yeah,
Adams, Ryan Adams.
yeah.
And if you want his Heartbreaker album or Gold album, those are the ones to start with. If you listen to them. Now, Ryan Adams has
And it
some
doesn't he suck?
he's kind of a sucky person. He is not a good boyfriend. He's like an emotional abuser.
Great.
Yeah. He was with Phoebe Bridgers and Mandy
That
Moore.
okay, that guy.
Yeah, the song Emotion Sickness is about Ryan Adams. So an older guy dating younger women too.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. You could pair this probably with Early Bright Eyes too. My Morning Jacket is one of those bands of the late 90s, early 2000s that kind of cement alt country. Ryan Adams is a part of that as well. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more Southern rock-esque, Lucero is a band that I would talk about. They're from Memphis, and they're more into that alt country, country punk. The lead singer's voice of Lucero is very unique and love it. So I'll put that. And then I finished it up. Sorry, I had a lot of recommendations
No, you're
because
good.
the entire Elizabethtown soundtrack, and there are 2 volumes of the Elizabethtown soundtrack, and mostly it's got Ryan Adams on it, it's got Tom Petty on it, it's got My Morning Jacket on it. So everything that I've already listed is on the Elizabethtown soundtrack. And Elizabethtown, one of my guilty pleasure movies that I love. But the music is very 2004, 2005, and alt country was kind of it at that time. So that's
All
what I would
right.
say. What about you? I gotta hear him.
I actually also had Tom Petty.
Yeah.
But again, if you asked me what genre Tom Petty was, I'd be like, I don't know.
Well, I kind of think Tom Petty falls into a good like little Wilco window, because until like the mid 90s, he wasn't doing this kind of like the songs that you're probably thinking. Wildflowers is
Wildflowers, yeah.
and then You Don't Know How You Feel. Like those are the type of songs that sound the most like this. But then you get some of like Free Fallin', which is like just a rock song, I would say.
Yeah.
So I do feel like he's a great comparison.
Okay. And then I also had John Mellencamp.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think that fits. That's a good vibe. I think John Mellencamp is another genre bender.
Yeah, that's the thing. I say Tom Petty, John Mellencamp. I don't think or Wilco. I would never say. I don't. I guess I never. I don't know what alternative country is, but I mean, they all sound to a point where I would pair them together in a bubble.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what alternative country is. But yeah, I guess if someone had asked me, hey, what's Tom Petty or what genre is John Mellencamp? I'd be like, that's a great question. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a learning episode. I'm learning today.
Well, a guy like John Mellencamp is interesting because you have those pop songs or songs that have been sampled and turned into other pop, like Jack and Diane. That's gets sampled.
That was specifically in a Jessica Simpson song.
Yeah, it's a Jessica Simpson song more than anything, and it's that's the Sucking Down Chili Dogs song.
Yeah,
Jack and Diane, and then Hurt So Good. Those are kind of like pop rock songs.
Yeah.
But I do think that some of his other stuff, when he starts going like when he's like John Cougar Mellencamp, that he or ROCK in the US. So those are like pop rock songs. But I do think he has that same. I didn't realize he had spina bifida. That's wild.
Are you looking stuff up
I just learned something about John Mellencamp. That's crazy.
I didn't know that either.
All right. Anybody else? Sorry, I jumped in on you.
It's you.
Bless her.
Sorry.
Bless me.
Ugh. Okay. Nope, that was it. Just Tom Petty and John Mellencamp were the only two that came to mind.
John Preen is another one that I'll throw out there. He's a good person that's kind of like an alternative country guy who was around for freaking ever. 50, 60 years of John Preen, good stuff out there. So, yeah, I, if you need more recommendations, let me know. You can hit me
I
up
can learn.
anytime. You know somebody, and
I do. I'll take it. Well, what would you recommend this to a friend?
yeah, but it's a selective friend group because of the confusion, I think, around this genre and who would enjoy this and who wouldn't enjoy this. So,
Yeah.
if you're more of a folksy person, I could probably, get you there.
Hmm.
But if you're like more on the mainstream country side of things, you're not going to like any of this stuff. So,
No. Yeah. I just went, meh.
yeah.
Again, I didn't hate this album by any means, but I also didn't love it. And I
Hmm.
cannot think of who I would recommend this to. My dad, maybe. Like,
I know exactly who I'd recommend all this to, and it is the people that this music came out for. It is Gen Xers. It
yeah.
like my sister, I think, would loved this time, and because she loved Tom Petty, and I think she would love Wilco, especially this early stuff. I don't know about later Wilco. Once they get to
Yeah.
A Ghost Is Born, I don't know if I can recommend them as the same band anymore.
Right. Again, it feels totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would only recommend it to my dad, maybe.
That's
This isn't
okay.
really, this isn't even really his genre, but that's the only person I can think to recommend it to. But anyway, what's your 5-star rating?
I gave it 3.5 stars. I kind of wanted to go 4 stars on it, but I don't
Wow.
think that it was as strong as some of their other stuff, like Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a 3.5. What about you?
Okay. I just gave it a straight 3.
Hmm.
Again, I am like so here with this album. Like, again, there's no hate. This is not a Wilco hate podcast. Wilco, if you're out there, if you want to join, I always like to throw it out there. Whoever we're talking about, Mariah Carey, Shania Twain,
I can assure
whoever.
you, Jeff Tweedy will not see this, will not care, and will probably, if he did ever see it, would probably bash us publicly. So
Oh, cool. That's fine.
he's, I've heard he's kind of a jerk.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
He could
hey,
be worse. He could be Ryan Adams.
it could be so much worse. Be a jerk. Don't be a pedophile. I mean, again, the band said they consider this a failure. I wouldn't say this is a failure by any means. I just think it's, the first time that it's a debut album. It's just
Didn't we do somebody else that thought their album was a failure? Like they hate that out? Was it
Pulp
Pulp? I thought
or
it was
not Pulp. Not
Was it
Pulp.
Radiohead?
No, the other one.
Blur. No.
Blur. Yes, it wasn't. It was Blur. Because I kept saying Pulp versus Oasis. It's not. It's Blur versus Oasis. Blur was pissed because, again, in retro, they did not outperform Oasis in terms of their album, so they like kind of regret that album, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not like really cool with it anymore. And then Radiohead regrets
Everything they've ever done.
Creep specifically
Oh, yes. That's right. That's what it
because
was.
yes, it was that they didn't like Creep, but no, Blur was who again like they like their new stuff now because they got a little
Yeah.
more electronic later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Cody, for joining us, for being here as always, as if you have a choice. Um, before we wrap up, do you have any recent music recommendations? What have you been listening to?
Oh gosh, I forgot. I forget about this part every time. And I have listened to new music. And what have I been listening to? I can't even tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what I've been listening to if
Thank
you want
you.
to ponder
Yeah.
on it. Not a lot. I do have. Well, what was I saying? Sabrina Carpenter put out a new song called Man Child. I have not listened to it yet, but
Hell yeah. It's
I do
great.
like I do love me some Sabrina. She's also coming out with a new album, which is crazy. She just put out one less than a year ago, I feel like. So she's churning that stuff out. So new Sabrina Carpenter album on its way. Love that. Tyler Childers announced a new album coming out in July, and we're going to see him in October. But he just released a new song today called Nose to the Grindstone. That's, again, talk about outlaw country or folk. That was a pretty good song. I listened to that this morning. And I have a new song that probably nobody who listens to this is going to like, but I like it. It's called I Got a New One by Elizabeth Nichols. It is very cutesy, girly, country, almost like Dolly Parton-esque. But the reason I heard it was because Kelly Clarkson did a karaoke to it. And I was like, well, I want to hear the original. And I feel like the original sounds just as good as the karaoke because Kelly will take a song and perfect it and destroy the original singer. And I don't think she destroyed the original. I mean, Kelly knocks it out of the park like she always does, but it's a pretty simple song. It's kind of hard to like jazz up too much. But I thought it was a cute song, and that's the one I've been listening to a lot. Also, I've been listening to Every Man's Got a Molly. Say
over and
anything.
over again. It's her
Over and-
fixation right now.
It is my current hyperfixation song, and I definitely need a new one.
Do you, Chad asks, do you have an I've Been So Sick playlist?
No, I don't. I should though. It's just me crying. That's the whole playlist. No, I'm kidding. That's it. Those are my recommendations. That's what I've been listening to. What about What about you?
Man-Child's great. Sabrina Carpenter, love her. I regret anything I ever said about her in the past. Not anything like super negative. She's been fine. I started listening to the early November. I don't know if we have any early November listeners out there, but they were a big kind of pop punk emo band, kind of in the same vein as like Wonder Years, maybe whinier Wonder Years is what I would say. Oh, there she's got her Wonder Year shirt on, folks. But they had an album that came out in 2024. I listened to a little bit of that album. Dan Campbell and Ace Enders, who's the lead singer of the Wonder Years, put out some things together at one point. I think they were about the show Friday Night Lights, and I love that.
Deviltown?
Yeah, Deviltown. He put out the cover of Deviltown. So I listened to that 2024 album, the early November's album that they just put out. Some Aaron West as well, coming off of our experience in Cleveland watching them. And then I'll say Haley Witters. If you guys are looking for a country singer, Haley Witters' album just came out. There's a couple good songs on there that I have had on my like list for a while. One of those is called Casseroles. She's interesting country singer. I don't feel like she's, clear cut, like super pop country, like a Lauren Elena or a Kelsey Ballerini or anything like that. She's a little different. So I recommend her. She just came out with an album called Corn Queen. So check that out.
Corn Queen. Awesome. Love it. That's fun. We have a lot of recommendations today. We always have that.
How's the John Bellion album been?
I haven't listened.
Okay, never mind.
I'm like putting it off. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, because I know I'm gonna listen to it and I'm not gonna like it.
Maybe you listen to it once all the way through and then sit on it and then give it another listen and a week later or something.
I mean, I've done it before, specifically with Taylor Swift albums, where she puts out an album. I hate it. I hate everything about it. And then I listen to it a second and a third time and I go, I get it now. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that's what will happen with this John Bellion album. But again, I've been putting it off. I'm like, maybe later, and then don't do it. So, okay, before next stream, I will listen to the new John Bellion album. I promise.
It's not like a requirement. You do you.
Well, the people want to know.
The people do want to know. Me.
The people, want to know. Well, thank you again, Cody, for being here. Thank you again. Like you have a choice. If you are into anyone out there, thank you for being here. You don't have to be here, and I appreciate when you are. But if you need to get any information about our show, you want to know when we're streaming, want to chat with us, want to chat with the homies, you can talk all things 52universe by joining our Discord server. You're also welcome to follow us on Instagram. Again, we post what album we're going to be listening to. And speaking of what album we're going to be listening to next week, we are going to be listening to Garbage by Garbage.
That's what they called me in high school.
Garbage by Garbage.
Mhm.
They're just garbage.
I'm just garbage.
But yeah, debut album by the band Garbage, self-titled. That's what we're listening to next week. So again, you can get that on any of your streaming platforms that you stream with. But again, thank y'all for being here. You are much appreciated. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for tuning in to 52/1995.
Goodbye.